Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday. Glad that you're here. This is an ad-free live stream as far as it is right now. And if you're here for the first time, my name is Tyler, and I am happy and excited to navigate you through this wild world of day trading futures. During this live stream that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be breaking down live price action. I'm going to be going through my daily bias and real-time trades to help you and show you how to trade, ways that you can trade as well, give you a front row seat to the action, so to speak. Now, if you're watching the stream after the fact, you can jump to key moments using the chapter markers below. I'll make sure I mark those where you'll find all the trades that I've taken along with the explanations so that you can learn exactly what I was thinking and why. And then lastly, if you're looking to take your trading to the next level, if you're looking to begin using funded accounts, I have a special discount code using DTJ to get the most up-to-date discount that Apex is providing. And they are currently, I believe, changing their promotion. So I'm not 100% sure what that was. Yesterday, it was 80% off. Today, it may be more, it may be a little less. We'll find out. As soon as I have that information, I will let you know. Other than that, let's go ahead and get started, and let's open up with a quick prayer. Father, we thank you for today. Thank you that we have the opportunity to build wealth, and that we get this great opportunity to trade as day traders. Lord, we just receive the profits that you have for us today. We will choose to be content with what you give us, not being greedy for more and desiring more than you have for us today. Father, we honor you in our trading. Amen. With that, let's go ahead and get into the charts. Let's take a look. Let's see what we have today. I do, in fact, know something that maybe you don't know. Maybe you do. Let me pull it up right here. We have news. No surprise there, right? Sorry. We have news today. Our news is going to be Tuesday, October 1st. It's the beginning of a new month. And at 10 a.m., we have JOLTS job openings. And that's at 10 a.m. That tends to be a little bit of a spike. We'll see what happens. We'll probably wait until then to actually take any trades unless something is just screaming our name saying, Tyler, Tyler, jump in now. That's probably the only point in time we're going to take something. So we'll see what happens there. We have the market selling off right now. We made a high. We didn't quite get there here in the AM session around 7 a.m. We have our new day opening gap sitting right here. We have this nice hourly BISI, this buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency sitting right here on the hourly time frame. And then if we scroll a little bit higher, we will see this previous week high that's sitting right here. Now, the first thing that I like to do when I'm on the charts is I like to mark out the things that you are seeing here. I always mark out midnight open, our new day opening gap, any large inefficiencies above, below, or above price. And then I usually like to put on the previous day high and low. Now, in this case, the previous day high has already been ran. So the only thing, I wonder if we have, that's Friday, that's Sunday, here's Monday AM session. Yeah, we're well above that. So we are looking at our previous day low and our London low. I'll throw on the London low here depending on where it's at. Is this our London low? This is. That is an obvious low. We'll mark that as our London low. Now, why do we mark these highs and lows? Because typically we see the market provide a retracement or reverse at these key levels. And that is the model that we use. We have two models, the inversion model and the breaker model. And I'm looking to capitalize on the reversal, capitalize on the retracement. If I can get anywhere from 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 handles, that's really all that I'm looking for. And a price move tends to be more than 50 handles. So we can take a chunk out of that. If we just look at this, a little bit of price action from this high. Here's a breaker right here. I'm not going to get into the details at the moment. But all the way to this low right here, that's 48 handles. So from the breaker to the swing low is 48 handles. That is a real move that we could get. So nice little setup there, as you can see. But we are well away from that right now. So we need to wait for the market to show us that it wants to give us something. So in addition to the midnight open, London low, previous day high, and so forth, the only other two things that I like to put on my charts right away is at 9:30 here in 2 minutes, I will mark our opening price. I want to know where the market opened at. I call it the 9:30 price. That's what 9:30 is. It's the opening price. And then immediately after that, I will go down here. You'll see down here. You'll see this ETH. We'll select that and go to RTH, and that will give us our regular trading hours. And I want to see the gap that we're going to have for our regular trading hours. And then I'm going to make that our first draw on liquidity. That's really what I'm looking for. Is this going to be a draw on liquidity? Can I use this as a draw on liquidity to get into a trade and have it run towards? That's what we will mark here in about 1 minute in time. Other than that, let's see what we got going on in the chat. ERP, good morning. Glad you're here. Jason, good morning. Ted, good morning. I'm glad you guys are here. It's going to be a great day today. It is usually always a great day. There's those days that you make a trade and you're just like, ugh, that could have been different based on the choices that we made. But I have an exciting announcement I'm really excited about. I'll share that a little bit later, but we got an announcement. Hit the like button if you want to hear the announcement. I don't care if you hit the like button because of that. ERP, I am doing micros again today. Yes. Yeah. I think what I'm going to do is increase my micros from 5 to either 7 to 10 micros is probably what I'll do. All right. So we have our opening price right here. 9:30. That is what we want to mark. And I have a template that gives it to me just pretty quickly. The next thing we're going to do is hit this ER, the regular trading hours, and I want to see where our gap is. We absolutely have no gap. So this is indicative potentially of a choppy morning. We just need to be aware of that. There is absolutely no, this is the last candle of yesterday's trading before the opening price of this trading. This does not include electronic trading hours. So there is zero, almost no opening range gap. So we can't use that as a potential draw on liquidity. So we got to find where our next draw on liquidity could be. Now, based on what I've seen with price, this is pretty smooth here. We could reach up to midnight open, run these lows, but we've been pretty heavy, and I'm questioning if we want to run down to the London lows down here. If I had a preference, I would like to see midnight open tagged and then us fall apart. That would be my preference. But knowing that we have a breaker right here, it didn't quite get all the way up to where I'd be interested in it, but it had a nice reaction from it. But we're not taking anything. I am a little hesitant because the gap was not really large. It was a very small gap, meaning there's not an initial draw in liquidity that I can tell right now. So with that question mark, I need to sit on my hands and wait. And I'm going to be significantly more diligent this week because last week on Friday, I decided to trade even though I was saying the entire time, this is horrible, this is horrible, this is horrible, we shouldn't be trading, and I was trading. What an example that was, right? So the first question I have right now is, now that we ran this low, are we going to create a fair value gap here? The answer will probably be yes because of how large this candle is. The second question I have is, are we going to close it? And if we close it, I can use the midnight open as my draw in liquidity. We ran liquidity down here. This is a sweep of liquidity unless we push lower. If we push lower, then we sit and wait. I mean, we do got to fill up some of this stuff here. So I'm looking at this order block sitting right here. This is a 15-minute order block right there. And right above it is a fair value gap. This is a 15-minute fair value gap. We just tagged that. Let's see if it wants to push through that or not. We also have these equal lows down here. I forgot about those, to be honest. That could be a beautiful draw on liquidity right down here. Equal lows. If you zoom out, you'll see these two wicky candles right down here. Or this low and low. These are relatively equal lows that price could draw to. So now that I'm considering where price is going and I'm looking in that direction, I do like the idea of these equal lows being ran. Now, with that being said, it's not very common for us to run a high and low on the daily candle in the same day. Take a look right here. We already ran the high of yesterday's price action. So if we run the high and the low, we're probably running down to here. Okay? But it's not very common that we run the high and the low of a daily candle. So I'm keeping that in mind as well. So this chart right here is now the daily, but I usually have it on the 5-minute. So this is the 5-minute chart that I usually have I have everything sit on. So we do have our first fair value gap. Let's mark that right here. Look how nicely it overlaps with the new day opening gap. So typically anything under 5 minutes is going to be a gray box. My 5-minute is a teal blue. My 15-minute is a purple. My hourly is a dark blue. My daily is a green. My 4-hour is a red, as far as fair value gaps go. That's how I color coordinate everything. You can color coordinate it however you want. But I do recommend that if you do something, it's really nice. TradingView allows you, let's see, does it pop up when I select this? Pops right there. Okay. So I'm going to put this right here. Let me show you. So when I select this box, this templates pops up. So I can select any of the templates I've created, and it's really easy to create a template. If you just select the box and you change the colors or whatever you want to do, let's just say you want to create this right here. You hit template and then you say you save drawing as template and then you name it. And then all I do is I select this as my 1 minute fair value gap. So price is moving lower. It's moving through these levels pretty swiftly. So it looks like we're intentional on running this previous day low. I mean, we have one more stop that we could find we could be sweeping, and that is the afternoon low right there, which we just swept. It's a minor sell side liquidity. We'll see if price wants to slow down there and give us a retracement or not. So since we kind of just blew right through this order block, I'm going to remove that. I don't like how it did not react to that at all. Now, Ted, this could be the order block. This could be the order block for the move higher. So thinking future thinking, that's what this could be. When we move like this quickly in one direction, for me, it signals one of two things. Either we're in a trending market or it's a Judas swing. Exactly right. It's a manipulation. So on the chart, what you see right now, on the right is my 1 minute, on the left it's my 5 minute. And then to the left of this chart right here, I have a 15 minute. But you guys can't see that. And that's all I have. That's all that I look at. And then I'll thumb through different time frames on those charts. I do have my micro account for my executions, but I don't reference that ever unless I'm in a trade. I think we're going to go lower here. We have, the other thing I'll throw out here is we have a volume imbalance sitting right there. This is a weekly volume. I think it's a weekly. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure that's here. This is the weekly chart, boys. All right, so yeah, it is the weekly. If we zoom in right there, look at the gap between September 16th and September 23rd. We have this volume imbalance right here. Okay. So we may reference this. Okay. This could be a draw on liquidity. It could be these equal lows. So you see how I'm layering. Where could price stop? That's literally all that I'm doing right now. Is I'm trying to identify where do we see, where are my key points of support? Where are my key levels? Because I don't know which key level is going to work. I don't. I'm not that good yet. But when we can identify, here's a previous day low. What I like is the previous day low and a wick into the volume imbalance and then a rejection or a bounce. That would be really nice. Something like that. Because I don't know if we're going higher or lower. I don't know. I have points of interest that I like, and there's things on both sides that I like. If I had to pick, gun to my head, I like the equal lows more than I like the previous week high because there's multiples here. When you have multiple levels lining up, that's just more enticing for the algorithm to run to grab the liquidity below. So that would be my only thing on that. The last thing I want to do is go short here, even though it could just plow right through this really quickly. But it also could just retrace into this fair value gap here. It could come all the way back up to up here. I don't know. I'm just waiting for some structure, and a line straight down is zero structure for me. It can run without me. Yes, Deborah, news is coming soon. News is coming soon. I need to drop that. I forgot to mark yesterday's stream to put down the timestamps on the timeline. I think that's really helpful. Do you guys appreciate? I don't know if you guys ever go back and watch it, but to me that's really helpful. If I could go back to specifically where I'm talking about a trade idea, a trade that I've taken, or any psychology stuff, I feel like that would be helpful and cause more people to engage with the content. Jonathan, you are not wrong. Just a nice quick sell-off here with an absolutely, I mean, it did give us a breaker. Are the macros you reference at the same time every hour? Yes, except for the last hour of the day. There's 3 of them. You have the 3 p.m. micro, meaning 10. ICT will do 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after. I don't. I go 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after. I like the quarters. 15. There's 4 15 minutes within the time period, and I've seen so many setups land around that 45 number that I just expanded it from 10:15 to 11:15. So you got, on the final hour, you have 2:45 to 3:15, and then you got 3:15 to 3:15 to 3:50, and then 3:50 to 6:10. 3:50 to 4:10, I should say. Sorry. I don't do the last hour hardly ever. That's usually the settlement time. That's where you get a lot of volatility. Sometimes if you look at yesterday's price action, you'll see exactly what I mean. About 5 minutes, it started about 2:45, price started running. I can show you. Let's see, there's 4 o'clock. All right, right here. Look out. It started running before that, but from this point, 3:45, in 15 minutes, it ran all the way up here. So it ran 100 points in 15 minutes in that final hour, or final 15 minutes of trading. So that's a macro in itself. I really don't, if I can, I'd prefer to get my setups here in the morning and not do anything in the afternoon. Today is the day the Lord has made. Thank you, Father, for your kindness and your goodness. You see how it's just sitting right above the previous day low? This is why you have to be careful not to get in a short when you think it's going to run that low, because it will stop right before it and then consolidate, and then sometimes have a manipulation higher before it runs the low, causing you to get stopped out. Now, see these relatively equal lows? I'm just about to touch on this while it's running that. If we were to come up here and sweep this high with these equal lows, I would have taken a short because I know the drawn liquidity is here. This is our clear drawn liquidity. Could it go past it? Yes. But when I have 4 candles creating an equal level, if we were to come up here and then run it after, I would have taken that. Because there's our tag right there. Boom. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if we get a push, but then we start moving the other way. I'm looking at this as a potential liquidity point for an inversion fair value gap to run the opposite direction. Personally, I don't want to see this volume imbalance completely filled right now. If it stays just like this, I would be ecstatic. Especially if we start running the other direction and we fill this fair value gap. Let's see. What time frame are you looking at, Ted? You know what's funny? I just recorded a video on order blocks yesterday. And now I got questions on order blocks. New York time, I was just noticing. Yeah, what time? What time frame? Is it on the 1 minute, on the 5 minute? Because you can have order blocks on all of them. Okay, this is not an A+, but it does look really nice. Usually the first time is lower probability of it failing. So if I'm honest, I don't want to see this close right now. 1 minute. From yesterday's time frame at 2:30. Yeah, it's so right here is an order block. That's an order block. And then right here is a propulsion block. Meaning when it hits the previous order block, you see price explode higher. But you could also see this as a breaker as well. Low, body, lower low. Fair value gap. Exploding higher. It's a little messy, but yes, it's there. So yeah, that is. All right, that makes me happy. Now, would I go short here? Absolutely freaking not. No. Could it go lower? Yes. Why would I not want to go here? I want an answer from the chat. Why would I not want to go short here? I mean, come on, this candle looks amazing right here. This just wicks up higher. It fills this fair value gap, and then it's pushing lower. Why would I not want to take that? Too much risk? That is true. But why is it too much risk? That is what you need to answer, because anybody could say it looks risky. But if you know what you're looking at, something that to one person may be more risk, to another may be less risk. You need to know why it's risky. Deep discount. We are in deep discount. Yes. So those are all correct answers as well. The other answer is we hit our potential draw on liquidity. I need more evidence to show me that it wants to run to these equal lows down here. Okay? Honestly, what I would want to see is, yes, push lower here, retrace, run the swing high here, and then come lower. something like that. I want to see a retracement before I'm willing to attack these, because I can't just take this here. We just hit a volume imbalance and the previous day low. It's already very rare that we get the high and the low of the previous day. So we probably are short, but I'm not going to go short here because yes, deep discount. 2, we need to see some type of retracement where we can get in on that retracement. Normally this would be an entry, but not right when you hit a previous day low. To me, it's too risky. David, to your point. FOMO, 100%. It'd be FOMO for sure. We also have news in 8 minutes. That would be another thing that I would be watching. Sula, is that how you pronounce it? Sula, or is it Sala? Sula, Sala. You want to see displacement higher or a 3 drives pattern into a macro before I take any buys. Correct. I would say probably more of the displacement higher. Yes, displacement higher. We hit a key level. Now, it's very hard to want to go long when we have equal lows right here. If I'm completely honest, if I want to take a long, I want to see these equal lows ran. That is the safest long you could take. It doesn't mean a long in the scenario where we don't get those equal lows wouldn't work. It could, but it's just lower probability, higher risk. Morning Viking, how you doing, my friend? At this point, I'm probably waiting for news. I'm not going to take any trades before news. No Viking, I have not taken a trade yet today. I did notice this post price action. It didn't quite hit the level that I wanted. Let me show you guys. I'm not taking anything for the next 5 minutes, so I don't care if we're not looking exactly at price action right now. All right, so look at this fair value gap right here. Small fair value gap. Yeah. We have a swing low, so we have a low, excuse me. We have a low, high. I'm drawing a blank on my breaker pattern. So, okay. So we have a low, we have a high, and a higher high. Or a high, low, high, high. There we go. Wow, that was a major brain fart there. I see it, I just couldn't get the words out of my mouth. So we have a high, we have a low. Where's this low located? Inside the fair value gap to the left. I like this. We run higher. Not by much, but we start to displace. Lower. This candle right here wicks up into, or just about to, that level. But more importantly, there's 2 levels that it doesn't have to hit that level. We have this fair value gap here that I was watching, which is really what I wanted to see, but it didn't get there. And then we have this fair value gap here, which we did. That was the fair value gap entry. So even though this was our breaker overlapping with this fair value gap, sometimes the entry is the fair value gap right beneath it. And that's what we saw here. Wicks up into this fair value gap right underneath the breaker. I saw it after it left it, and I'm like, I'm not taking that because it's opening price. We also had no opening range gap, and I'm just like, it could be choppy. Well, it wasn't choppy. It literally dropped directly the other direction. So that was kind of the idea. That was our best opportunity this morning. Since then, we haven't seen anything. Look at that. Here, let me just scroll straight down because that's what's been happening all morning. All right, this is what I wanted to see. Some type of retracement. It's hard to want to go long on something like that. There's a small fair value gap here, but this liquidity swing high is inside another fair value gap. And so I would not want to take this as a long entry. I'm not interested in that. Hang on, before we get going, I need to make sure my micro screen is working correctly. It always, what you're seeing right now, it always does that, and if I don't correct it. I don't know why it does that. Trying to get it set up, folks, because my executions will be on. That. Dang it. Having issues there, folks. Retest of this fair value gap. Noting this fair value gap here for a draw on liquidity here. Now, I'm a little burned from last month when we had those triple equal highs that price just would not and refused to run for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I felt a little violated from that, not running it. So I'm thinking like, oh, these equal lows, they should be ran. They should be ran. Well, I hope they stinking get ran. All right, here's our JOLTS news. Good reaction, breaker right here. Yeah, it's nasty looking, but it's here. Low, high, lower, low. Break higher, bouncing off that breaker, pushing higher, watching this close. Let's see where this candle closes right here. $29 seconds. If it runs without us to this high, it will run without us. We're not interested in that. I want to see it close above this, and I'm interested in a potential long if it did. Okay, we got nothing. What a candle. Absolutely nothing there. At this point, I would like to see a sweep of this low of the data candle and then run this candle here. That would be the scenario I'm interested in. Now, I'm leaving this idea that this may be ran later. Unless it wants to show me right now, I'm leaving this idea for later. We already ran the previous day low and a volume imbalance. Underneath here is a weekly fair value gap as well. Let me mark that. I probably should mark that. It's right here. All right, there we go. That's the weekly fair value gap. You know what? I think that's immature of me. and ignorant of me to not consider this weekly fair value gap for how close we are. I think I need to look at shorts. I think that would be very ignorant. Yeah, it could work where we could run this high right here and then run lower. Yeah, it's absolutely possible. But when you have this equal low and a weekly fair value gap sitting right here, and you're this close to it, you're probably going to run it. I mean, that's how I would see it. I can't ignore it. I have to read the charts and make that determination. I was ready, man. I was hoping that this was going to close and I was going to take it. I wanted to be in one candle too. The one candle close is my favorite compared to test, break. I prefer the close in one, especially when we got movement like this. If we get a close in one, it's destined to look pretty. The 4 hour did just close. New candle. We closed above the volume imbalance on the 4 hour. Right below this weekly order block, or the 4 hour order block right here. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, I don't see why we shouldn't run this low and then come back up and fill this 4 hour imbalance that's sitting right up here. Even on the 1 hour, it probably looks nice as well. Yeah. Look at these. Look at those equal lows right there. Boom. Let's run those and let's see it come back up into this area here. That's what I would expect. So whether we are able to capitalize on this target for the low, we will probably get an opportunity to take a long off this level. I just don't know if it's going to be in the AM session or PM session. That's really what we're watching for. Here's the breaker. Fair value gap. I wanted to see that run to go this low, but if we're going to find support here and we have an aggressive candle the other direction, I would take it. I would be interested in taking that to this high right there. Moving my stop to break even as quickly as I can, being okay with a stop out at break even. So we have a couple different options that we're really looking at, because it's plausible that we don't touch this right now. We retrace, 50% of this range before we continue lower. That's a real possibility. Let's see. What is 50% of that range? Whoops. So look at where that 50% is. It's right in the middle of that fair value gap. This is what ICT calls a breakaway gap, and you can use, or a measuring gap. So this is what he'll do. He'll take the first fair value gap that's not filled and call that a breakaway gap. The second one, significant one, there's one right here. He'll take this one and use this as a measuring gap, and as you can see, it measures down to these lows on where price was running. So he uses the Fibonacci tool quite often. I haven't mastered it yet, and there's some there's some question marks I have on it that I just haven't figured out quite yet. The 4 hour turtle soup setup playing out for buys if it gives an entry on the 1 minute. Potentially. I don't take yeah, there could be a turtle soup on the, if we run the equal lows. That's the turtle soup I would be looking for. I don't play turtle soups. Morning, Alkai. Depending on how this candle closes, I may be interested in taking it. I'm interested in it. Son of a gun. I'm pretty sure that did not close. See that? Boom, right there. No close. So now it's going to run without us. And we smile and wave. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. If any of you can guess what movie that's from, kids movie. My kids have seen it a million times. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Only way I'm interested in this now is we close here. And we probably won't get it. I want it to come back up there. So 3 seconds. It's probably going to run without us. I would want it to touch here. Maybe come back into this fair value gap. Penguins, 100%. You could have taken that right there. That was a decent wick right there. I'm just not taking it right now. Best part of the movie. Yes, they were. I'm not liking how slow this is. It probably will run, but I'm not liking this. We have a fair value gap here. This technically is, I could justify this being a breaker right here. So coming back up into this fair value gap really is what I would want to see. And I want that because we're already in deep discount. I know I'm probably giving away a trade right now. I'm stepping away from a trade that I'm pretty confident. I was pretty confident it would work. But I just didn't like where this close was, because this is where my break-even point would be. It still would have worked. I'm okay. Short. I can't tell you how many times I would have gone short right there. I'm imagining myself short right now at the opening price of that candle. Because I've done that so many times. It's about 50-50. I'd sell right there. That would have been 10 handles. But I've gotten burned on that many times where I rarely take them anymore. Because opportunities like this show up. When you get that big push like that, those are why I like when it does this. I typically see that push. I've gotten burned too many times where I just don't do it anymore. I take that back. I've done it before. I've done it recently, but I just don't do it when I'm on a copied account. When my trades really matter, I don't do it as much. So my news, the news. I was honestly doing nothing, and I felt an impression from the Lord that it was time to create a course. a day trading course. Now, I'm really excited about it because I got the name for it, and it just like fits with everything that I stand for and everything that I want. So the course, or what I'm calling it, is going to be called the Purpose-Driven Trader Academy. The Purpose-Driven Trader. Because what I'm about is more than just trading, teaching people to trade, but actually to have financial freedom to have kingdom impact. That's really my goal for people around me. We're waiting. I want to see what we have happen here. This is not a long. We got a fair value gap here, here, and here. We're not interested in that. So I am putting together an academy called the Purpose-Driven Trader. And I'm going to be putting together a series of videos that outline everything, that all the essentials for trading, outlines the models that I trade. But it puts it all together in one place, so you're just not getting bits and pieces. Everything will be included in that. And then the part I'm really excited about, it's a add-on. It's not an add-on, it's free. It's included. But I'm going to talk about the purpose-driven mindset. The mindset that that I've learned over the years through my relationship with the Lord, that it takes to be successful. It takes to live a kingdom life. And I've shared bits and pieces of that. I'm also going to share my entire story on there. So really excited about it. I'm hoping maybe by Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is my goal, to have it done by then. So we'll see. But I'm really excited about it. I'll start putting, I have somebody creating a logo for me. I have an idea what I want it to look like. So when I have that, I'll pop it up on the screen. So maybe create a waiting list. I don't know. This is all new to me. I'm just doing what I feel the Lord's asking me to do. All right, so single fair value gap. When we are moving lower, it's common for this first fair value gap to be supported. If the first fair value gap isn't supported, what happens is we'll go back to the order block. And then we want to see, will the order block be supported? So we're watching the first fair value gap. Boom, it's working. We should see a push lower. If we don't, then I don't care. I take that back. This one could work. And why it could work is because we have that low right there overlapping with it. So this could be the fair value gap, which overlaps with this order block. This is the wick lower. This is the wick part of the order block, which is a sensitive portion, but the most sensitive part is from the wick to the body. So this area is more likely where we would see price come up into, find resistance, and push lower if that first fair value gap isn't supported. Now, do I want to go short? No. We're in the weekly fair value gap. This was ultimately the target. I highlighted minor sell side liquidities on the way down. And then once we hit those levels, looking at, are we going to see a reversal at this level? No, it decided to keep going lower, knowing that the weekly fair value gap was the target. Quick Solutions, thank you, man. I appreciate it. That means a lot. My goal, my prayer, you can ask my wife. Well, you can't ask my wife. You guys have never seen my wife, or you've seen pictures probably. But you can ask my wife. That is my prayer. I want to reflect, when people see me, when people see what I'm about, I want it to reflect the kingdom of heaven. I want it to reflect Christ. Not in a weird, super spiritual type of way. I want it to be practical. And there's no better way, in my opinion, to live a kingdom life where you're successful in what you're doing, you're using principles of the kingdom of heaven, and people are drawn to that. I mean, I can tell you stories and stories of how I've sown seeds and I've prayed for things, and then it shows up literally out of nowhere. And to me, that's what drew me from the beginning. All right, we closed below this down close candles right here. Look at that. I want to see how do we react to that right now. We're just reading order flow right now because there's literally nothing else going on. There's nothing else for us to do right now. That's right. 100% Jason. Or what's different about him? Why yes, and people, here's the thing. Very rarely will people ever say that to you. Or will you find out? But I can guarantee you people see that, and maybe subconsciously they may not say it, but they're drawn to it. It usually you see it in their actions. You see it in people's responses towards that environment. So that's why it's like there's so many day trading courses out there. There's so many out there. I've taken many of them. And I'm sure many of them work. You could if you're willing to stick with it. But for me, day trading is just one aspect. And most of these courses only offer the strategy because that is the easiest thing to teach. I teach you guys that here. But 80% of everything else is about the way you think, the way you view the world, how you view yourself. 19,898. 19,898. Why 18,898? Why that level? What are you looking at? Let's see. Interesting. All right, here's what I see. And I hope I'm right because I really don't want to go to all-time highs. All right, let me jump to, this is the hourly. This will work. All right. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Let me make sure it can be seen clearly on the charts. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Look at this consolidation over here. We have our break higher. We have our reaccumulation. And then we have, you could call this a reaccumulation here. But then we have our high made, smart money reversal. This is our stage one. I would call this our stage one distribution. So if this in fact is what I'm thinking in a market maker sell model, here's what we could expect. Something like that. Typically, before we see this next distribution stage, this next violent move lower, you get consolidation. Now, this consolidation could still be 150 handles from high to low. So if that's the case, we would look for opportunities in this range here, maybe touching this previous day low right here. I like that idea. Seeing if it wants to come back to that level. We'll see. At this point right now, this probably is going to close and we'll probably run these highs. And it's going to go without us. Oh, I see what you're saying, Deborah. All right, so there's the close. We closed on the low. These equal lows. I'm going to wait 2 more minutes, 2.5 more minutes. I want to see a change in state of delivery. Meaning I want a higher probability that we're not going to just continue lower. Okay, so this is my change in state of delivery level right here. I need it to close on the 5-minute. We probably, I mean, this is going to work more than likely. I just wasn't willing to take a long from here with it potentially coming back down to here. I mean, we're looking at 20 handles almost. All right, so there's the high. That inversion worked. I just didn't take it. I'm okay with that. There's our wick low. Let's see if it wants to find resistance there, if it's going to keep going. It's, to me, we probably are going to close above this CISD. Then I would be looking for it to come back down to a level down here, maybe this breaker, and use that as a potential entry. I like this displacement higher. What do I think about the 3-minute? Well, we have 2 minutes left on this candle. So I do like the way that looks. We just have to wait 3 more minutes for that. So let's look at the 2-minute. 2-minute, I like this fair value gap right in here. Look where the fair value gap is in relation to that level that I indicated. We could see price come right back up to there. But I want to wait another 30 seconds for this 5-minute to close. The only way this will not work is if we are in a trending lower day. And we could be. I mean, look at these candles here. So when we come back down to this level, I'm looking for a 1-minute change in state of delivery. I'm not going to take a falling knife. I'm going to wait for it to close above a down close candle and use that as my opportunity to go long. Because the truth is that if we closed over this 2-minute, that's an inversion to the low as well. Okay, we just wicked that 5-minute candle right there. Okay, so we've closed above it. Now we're just looking for, I'm looking for a 1 minute to see if we can get in anywhere. I would like it to come back up, get down into here. Don't know if it's going to give that to us. We hit 50%. Hey, bud. You about to leave? Okay. Okay, what did I say? We're not taking it until we see a 1-minute change in state of delivery. This is how we prevent ourselves from this. It just collapsing on us. So 29 seconds on the minute 26 on the 2-minute. Okay, there's the 1 minute close now. 1 more minute for the 2 minute to close. So 2 minutes closing in 55 seconds. We'll see if it finds support in this fair value gap. Okay. This inversion did not, that 1 minute inversion was not supported. So we're watching that level there. It does not look like it's going to find. This is what I'm talking about. This is how we know. This is why we wait for that 1 minute. Thank you, Jesus. I really wanted to take a long, guys. But I was determined to wait for a 1 minute change in state of delivery. And it is violating this low on the 2 minute, meaning we're probably going to run this low. It wouldn't surprise me if it's right here. Okay. And there, our idea is now gone. The idea is gone. We got a change in state of delivery. This is key. We did get a change in state of delivery. It gave me confidence that we may continue higher. But I have an additional confirmation for an entry. My entry is I need to see when we come back down to this level, a 1 minute change in state of delivery. A green candle to close above a previously down closed candle, creating an order block. We didn't get that, and it literally just dropped in front of our eyes. This is why you have your set of rules and you have to be patient. If we don't get a trade, think of it this way. We just saved ourselves $1,000 by not front running this trade idea. That's how I see it. I just saved myself a loss. Man, I'm so grateful. Yes, I wanted to take a trade, but man, I'm just as grateful that I didn't take that. And when you see that happen over and over again, and it happens more, and it happens more to you, you get more comfortable letting trades come to you instead of you chasing trades. And when you let trades come to you, it's easier. What happened yesterday when I called out that breaker? We were literally calling it about 10 minutes before it actually formed. Do you guys, I literally called yesterday, if you're on here for the first time, yesterday I called our trade 10 to 15 minutes before it showed up on the charts. That's a trade coming to me compared to me trying to, I think it's going to do the click. I'm chasing a trade. That is not having the mind of Christ. The mind of Christ is be content in all things. We will receive what the Lord has for us. That's a reclaimed fair value gap. Which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the one that I removed here at 10:15? There, Dennis? Deborah, I don't know the correct answer or the whole answer. All I know is this is our volume imbalance, or this is our weekly fair value gap. It may want to hang out in here a little bit longer. Somewhere inside this orange range from 953 to 814. You got 140 handles of range in here that price could mess around in. We do have a sell side sitting here. $11:15 a.m. Ooh, I know what our draw is. Check this out. I'm not saying it's going to be completely filled. All right, we have to zoom out for this. This is our opening range gap. If you want to do your own research, Check out the opening range gap from September 19th. Is that September 19th? Wednesday. It is from, Wednesday, September 18th to Thursday, September 19th. Check out that opening range gap. It has not been filled, and it's been sitting there since September 19th. We haven't even gotten down to the midpoint yet. This will be the first time we get to the midpoint. This is, to me, we're filling this volume and this opening range gap, which also we have this weekly. We could run through this weekly fair value gap and still close up in here on Friday. You need to understand that. This is a weekly. This was only a draw. Okay? Now that we've hit it, we could push through it on Wednesday, Thursday, and move out of it by Friday, and we would have still filled this on a weekly time frame. Okay? You need to understand that this weekly fair value gap isn't completely completed until Friday. We got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 more days. So we could just run right lower, fill something, run something below it, and then come back higher to close within it. So very possible. Very possible. Okay, I'm going to start moving a few things around to clean up my charts a little bit. We know we're in the weekly. I'm gonna set that back a little bit. We know we have this opening range gap here sitting there. I don't think these are helpful to us right now. Let's go on the 2-minute. I like this 2-minute here. I apologize, folks. I gotta use the restroom. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm liking longs as well. That's 2 minute, 1 minute we got there. Okay. 2 minute, 3 minute. I like the 2 minute here. I would like to wait another 7 minutes. I mean, if it goes before, I may consider it. But my macro starts here in about 7 minutes. The 3 minute closes in 30 seconds. It has a fair value gap that it probably will close above, but then you have this 2 minute here that's sitting right there. So I like the 2 minute over the 3 minute. We also did not hit this sell side liquidity. We stopped right before it. We stopped right before that. So makes me not as bullish as I want to be. We also have equal lows sitting right here. So we got probably find resistance around this equal low area. $10 seconds. All right, looks like we're not going to get a close on the 2 minute. The 3 minute did close. This is why you have to thumb through different time frames, because just taking a 3 minute inversion long can hurt you if there's a 2 minute that's sitting there that's nice and obvious. And that's nice and obvious in my opinion. Folks, we have not clicked the button once. That in itself is something to be proud of. Yes, I missed 2 trades. I missed 2 opportunities. I see that. That's almost a little, yes, it's valid. It's just really small. But I won't take trades off the 5 minute anyway. We can use that as a confirmation. Absolutely. So 2 minute here is coming up. Let's see if it goes. Let's see. Where's the 1 minute? 1 minute is right here. Two minute is in 28 seconds, and it's also the same point. I like that. I just... Okay, folks, I'm taking along. Watching this level here, I'm going to base it off of the 1 minute for a close. I've tried, and for whatever reason, it doesn't allow. It's not letting me switch over. I'm having it. It's a kink in the. Oh, there it is. All right, there we are. It could retrace into this here. If we get to 40 handles or 10 handles, 40 ticks, I will take 3 contracts off. I would like this to close green. If it closes red, that's not necessarily in our favor, because it means we'll probably potentially push down into here. We're at the halfway point of this candle. I want to see retracements from this point on. That's typically a good sign. Around 30 seconds left on the candle when we start seeing it retrace. It's not all the time, not guaranteed all the time, but that's what I like to see. Do you guys understand what I mean by sometimes it's better for it to come back in here and take your long down here instead of up here? That is why, because then you don't have to deal with this much drawdown. We will move our stop to break even. If we're able to give above this high right there, that's when we'll move our stop to break even. I didn't like that candle close. I wanted to see a fuller body. Really don't want this to close red. There we go. full position here. No, don't do that. Don't be dirty. Adzi, this is my only trade so far. The next time I get above here, I don't care what, I'm moving my stop to break even. I'm not liking how much time we're spending in here. If we close below this box, I'm out 13 seconds. I closed that, potentially prematurely. Let's see what happens. Okay, so there's the official close. I got out a little early. The main thing I didn't like about this trade was these equal lows here. That's honestly the only thing I really didn't like. These two candles kind of tricked me a bit. I took a half size and then added to the position here, expecting we were going to get a push so I can move my stop to break even, and we didn't get it. So it was also around our macro time, so I don't feel bad about taking it. It sucks when you have a loss, but it's part of the process. Are you talking about the inversion we took, Deborah? I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Just not the setup that we wanted. Sell side? What do you guys think? It's a breaker, but also we have sell side below it. Now, I can't go long again right now. I can't. When you have this fail, it tells me that lower prices are coming. So it's not like, do I want to go long again when this failed? Or would I rather be interested in potentially playing a draw on liquidity that could be the draw on liquidity? Because we've already seen price run that direction. Downside to that is we're already in discount, which is where we want to look for longs. You know, the other thing here is, look where that fair value gap was. That was already in premium. If I had my preference, folks, this fair value gap that we took should have been in discount from this leg to the low to high. Not all of them are going to be that way. This fair value gap's in discount when I said it could go short. I pointed out this also, which that was in discount. So that was a lower risk. Nothing looks good here, folks. Nothing looks obvious. Just kind of consolidating after a big run. We'll see what happens here in 3 seconds. We got 11 o'clock here. If we get an aggressive candle this direction and closing below this towards sell side, that would be kind of my only potential option here. Equal highs. Reaction from this breaker. This order block right here, that's quite a reaction for a sell. Oh, I really wanted to take that. I'm not going to. I'm going to follow my rules. Especially when you got a candle like this and it retraces all the way down. Can't. Downside is right on a breaker. You can't do that. You got to be conservative. I have no idea. I don't pay attention to Jolt's numbers. The way we view the market is that news is an excuse for them to manipulate and move the market aggressively. They decide where they want to move it to, but it's usually in line with the structure that we see in the charts. $10.02. Still no close. But see how we're hanging out in this fair value gap again like we did in this one? We ended up failing through it. Let's see what happens with this one. We spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles inside the fair value gap. This one we're in it 1, 2, 3. We're on the 4th candle right now. I like these relatively equal highs, but there's not an option for us to take a long to those highs. It's 5-minute closes in 46 seconds. Let's see if it closes below this, creating an order block. All right, I took a short here. Let's see what happens. Risk-free trade. We're going to let it run. See if we can make back some of our losses. We have a little bit of a sell-side liquidity here. I want to see it push through that and then run this low here. And then potential target would be down here at 819.845. Equal lows right now. I don't like that reaction. I want to see it close red or black. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. Gonna sell 2 contracts there. 3 contracts left. I'm gonna change this to 2 contracts. Okay, got 1 contract left. I'm gonna sell all there. I'm okay with that. All right. Let's flatten the accounts. All right, that did not get me back to break even though that was a fantastic trade. I did half size. I didn't do my full size, so I was able to get back roughly 60%, 70% of my losses on that trade. So that's the kind of trade that I wanted. I wanted from the beginning. I'm grateful that we got some of it back though. That was 200. We sold at 200 ticks. 40, 50. That was a 50 handle move we took. Guess where we came to? 50% of that opening range gap from the 18th. We could fill this whole thing. That's very plausible. Now, I want you to note. I want to note something here, okay? I want to compare the two trades. I'm talking to myself here, and you guys get the benefit of listening. On our first trade, we closed here and we went long. We were targeting this high with our stop on a close below that level. On the second trade, we went short with our stop to here, a close below or above that area with a target here or here. That's end up where we took it. So 40 handles on this trade, 29 handles on this trade. Here's the difference between the two and why what I wanted to do here I didn't do. I wanted to wait for it to come back into this level to take a lower risk trade. I didn't because I did not want to miss the move. So fundamentally, I took an emotional, legitimate trade, but it was still 10 handles above the fair value gap that I wanted to go long in. The total stop loss was 20 handles. That we sold it way down here. Compared to this trade here, where we closed just below the fair value gap. And I immediately got in because I'm like, this is great. This is exactly where I wanted it to close. My risk is significantly less, potentially, depending if it just blows the other way in one candle. That would suck. But what happened immediately after it? It moved away from us. And guess what I did immediately? I was able to move my stop to break even almost immediately. These are the kind of setups that I prefer. Now, what I had a thought that I didn't do was when we came down into here and on this candle here at 1046 and then again at 1048, I had an opportunity to close my trade. I had an opportunity to reduce my risk. I didn't. I doubled down on my risk and it hurt me. I wanted to see us move away from this fair value gap quickly and move to the high. This one, we closed below it, wicked up into it, and then expanded lower. This is the type of setup that I want to see all the time. And so if I'm not seeing this signature in price where we move right away, I need to question myself and ask myself, do I need to get my stop to break even immediately? Do I need to reduce my risk? Or do I need to get out of the trade completely? And I did none of those things on this trade here. So lesson learned on my part, and you guys get the benefit of hearing it. This is just something, I'm thinking this the entire time we're sitting in here. Do I get out? I was patient. I was comfortable. It was doing what I expected to do. Came down. But it was when we went up to here, we wicked above here, and then we closed down here that I'm like, this is not good. And I had an opportunity to close. But I wanted to follow my rules. But I need to also look at the dynamic picture of how long have we been in this fair value gap, and do I need to make adjustments accordingly? And I should have made adjustments based on my comfort level, not taking an emotional exit, but really looking at the charts and saying, is this what I want to see? And I could tell you it's not what I wanted to see immediately, and I had the option to close it, but I didn't. So something that, if you participate in this, I would take a snapshot of both of these trades and journal the difference between the two so that you can identify what you want price action to look like compared to what it was on the first trade, and compare that to the second trade. So that next time, if you're in a trade like that, you can make that judgment call and say, you know what, next time I get to break even, I'm out. I'm moving my stop to break even. This trade was just so nice that it gave me the option to move to break even almost immediately. And you better believe it, I took it. I took it. I love risk-free trades. I'm not sure I'm going to get another opportunity for an entry. It's already 11:16. We got noon coming up. Been on here for a little bit. There could be an opportunity. This has proven to be a trending day lower. These are some of the hardest, besides completely horrid price action, these are the next most difficult days for me to trade. Because when they hit a key level, you're expecting some type of retracement, but it continues to melt. And then you have the option, do I want to go short when I'm already in discount? And then when you do go short, it delivers nicely. Those are the trending days. So being able to identify those is difficult because the last thing you're thinking is it's going to continue, but then it does. All right, weekly BISI here. We are about to fill it. I expect we do so. Meaning I'm talking about this last little portion right here. Oh, whoops. Folks, I think we're going to be doing this nice and tight movements like we're seeing right now, probably till noon. Probably going to call it a day here. I don't see any structure that I would want. Now, we have NFP on Friday. So that means tomorrow we would only want to trade the AM session. And Thursday we would ideally want to just avoid trading altogether on Thursday. So we have trading tomorrow AM session, and then Friday AM session and PM session. Thursday we would ideally want to stay away from, or if you want to do demo and just do some price reading, or eval and do some price reading, those are options. But I probably will not be doing any of my funded accounts on Thursday. On the hourly time frame, we hit this wick low right here. Let me make that thicker. We hit that sell side liquidity right here. Beneath this, on the hourly, we do have this 1 hour fair value gap. If we take a look at the weekly time frame, that weekly fair value gap that we're referring to, here we are. Now that we ran the previous week low in the same candle, I don't expect us to get all the way back up to this, the previous, that's a previous day high. This needs to be previous. I don't know why that's there. I don't expect us to get over the previous week high. From a daily perspective, we have this daily fair value gap sitting down here. I think we are in the beginnings of a market maker sell model. Jordy, we lost one and won one. If you go back probably about 15 minutes, I outlined both the trades. 15-20 minutes, I outlined both the trades and compared them between the two and why I liked the second one more than the first one and the mistakes that I made. The second trade didn't quite get all my losses back because I cut my size in half. It was a much better trade. It was a larger trade. The first trade I lost, it was about a 20 handle loss, and the second trade was about a 50 handle win. But I cut my size in half and took some TPs along the way. I like this wick right here above this, just these little highs right here for continuation lower. Nothing that we're taking here. We took this drop right here is what we took, Jordy. We played the break of this inversion fair value gap that was created at 10:36 a.m. Played that drop to the sell side liquidity. The other thing I can say, folks, is in regards to this long here, I did take this long knowing that this sell side was still here. I took it thinking we may leave it for later. That's really what happened today. All the way down here. I think we're going lower. I think we'll run the lows. We'll hit this daily fair value gap that's way down there. How we get there is the question, the narrative. I'm thinking the narrative is we'll potentially, I don't think we could do it. We may do it this week. I don't think so. This is the daily time, daily, so today is Tuesday. I think we could find some retracement back up in here. Leave a fair value gap here. I think we leave some type of fair value gap in today's price action tomorrow. And we continue lower with a consolidation maybe for a day. Running these lows down here. Give me a second, folks. Be right back, folks. I gotta take a picture of my wife's driver's license for her. Well, I'm surprised on this reaction, to be honest. And left that little bit open. I'm not too concerned about it. I wanted to see the fair value gap close, the weekly fair value gap be completely filled. Way to go, Ted. Take it right off the order block there. Nice order block entry. Also, nice wick confirmation. Stayed in premium. It definitely feels easier to take it on eval, doesn't it, Ted? All right, so we closed above this 1 minute fair value gap. It's a little too high for me, but that is an inversion potentially to these equal highs. In relation to from this leg to this, the low, where that's in premium. We just tapped into premium there. Let's see how this works. I'm taking a single micro. I take that back, 2 micros. Targeting these equal highs right here. Gonna move my stop to break even right now. Oh, there's targets just hit. Okay. Target was hit. Small micro move. I took a micro size move, so not as large. I mean, it would have been a great, fantastic trade if I took high size, but I didn't want to take that risk. And that puts me at 3 trades. I'm going to be done for today. Nice reaction here. Nice reaction from grabbing that high, potentially running for these highs now. We'll see what happens, but ended up selling that. I don't feel bad for going lighter. So I've been doing 5 micros. On my first trade, I did a full size, ended up with a loss. Then I went half size, made quite a bit of that back. And then I even went smaller because what I've noticed is sometimes when I take trades and I'm down, I notice that I'm trading for break even. I'm not trading for profit. So I want to reduce the risk and the desire and urge to try to get back to break even and just follow my rules, follow what I'm seeing, take a trade and not worry about the actual amount. Afterwards, I have to deal with, hey, it worked out. What if I would have went at full size? I would be up probably $1,000 with all the trades with the 2 wins that I took, but I didn't. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. At least that's what I tell myself. The more you do it, the more you get comfortable because there's always setups. You just have to be patient. I'm honestly surprised I took another trade. I'm surprised. I didn't expect to see price action like this. Oh, I mean, it's legit, Jordy. It's the real deal. I understand. If you can walk away until you don't feel that anymore. And don't tell yourself, oh, I'm okay now, I can go back. No. You can tell the difference. You just got to be present with yourself and know it. I'm watching this order block. Look how we came into that fair value gap. Oops. We respected this order block into the fair value gap. These are high probability order blocks. Right here. Why? Because of the fair value gap. Especially when we see price doing what it's doing right now, the chances of it going against this order block is very low. And the more I see it, the more I'm like, man, I should just make a model out of this. Let's look at the manipulation. If we do a 4 standard deviations, look where the 4 level lands, right in line with this high just about. Look where the 3 lands. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look how nice that is. There's the 3, right in line with these equal highs. So let's see if this manipulation tells us anything about where price is going to go. I expect so. We tapped into that order block this time. And look at that delivery. I read. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Has anybody tried to get an eval today? Do you know what their discounts are? I haven't tried. I haven't looked. I'm curious. Let's take a look. 50K. Probably gonna run right here. If I was going, it would be right now. There, it ran that high. It looks like it wants to go more. Current discounts are still 80%. We are still at an 80% discount. I just don't know if the funded accounts are 160 or if they're 80. So if you're looking to start your funded journey, use the code DTJ to get 80% off on your next eval account. Viking, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Man, look at that reaction. I see these reactions and I'm like, oh man. You know what? At a minimum, I could do a single micro. What the heck? Why don't we turn this into a model? We're going to turn this into a model. When we see price action like this, okay, and we get an order block that is then closed above it, the next time we come down into it or the fair value gap, I think I will go long with a single micro contract. There's no reason why I can't do that. We use our target, the low of the candle of the fair value gap, which would be this candle here, would be our target, our stop loss, and then we go long. And holy macaroni, even one contract. One contract, if we went long right here, 50 handles. That'd have been $100 on a single micro. Oh yeah. The temptation is just wanting to jump in when you see these green candles. What is the characteristics of a great trader is being able to say, you know what, there'll be another one. I just need to recognize the origin point of the move. And I need to recognize this here so that the next time I see it, I can take it. And that's what I'm literally talking about right now. Here's an order block. Candle inside the order block. Turns this into a proportion block. We explode higher. Why is this a proportion block? When price is right here, it is not a proportion block. We are anticipating it to become a proportion block. It becomes a proportion block when this candle closes above it. So here, we may be going long with the anticipation that it stops here and this turns into a proportion block. These are all, guys, I could create a model every single day. I could give you 2 models that right now. We just created, I'm talking through 2 potential models that you could trade off of if you wanted to. It is very easy to create a model. It's not that easy to follow the model and only take trades when you see the model. Just noting, we filled this fair value gap and then we changed directions. We left a small little piece down here, but I'm just noting that on a higher time frame fair value gap, it filled it. I believe, if I remember correctly, it did the same thing on the daily. The first time. Yeah, okay. So this is the close of that day. Here was the next day. Look how much of the fair value gap we closed. We went halfway, we came out, but then we came back down and left a sliver of it. And then moved higher. Very interesting that the weekly is doing that as well. Just noting. I'm on here way longer than I thought I would be. And we're just going away. Going on it. Going on and on and on. I thought I was going to be done. I kind of now want to be on till noon and see what happens at noon. I'm not going to lie. I think the only reason why I'm still on is price action has been decent. We just swept this high. That's not really what I wanted to see right away. I would rather have seen a higher high and then displace lower. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to continue higher or not. If I was to bet, I would want to see this. Here's our midpoint. I want to see us come back. I think I want to see us come back to the daily low, the previous day low. I believe that's the previous day low. Why is that so far away? Where is that? There it is. Order block, hit. Why am I not interested in this one? Because we already hit the high. Fair value gap here. The 4-hour closes in another 2 hours. I really can't use that for any type of analysis right now. On the hourly, I do like the idea of running into this large hourly fair value gap. Let's just mark that, okay? It's going to be a nice big box. More boxes for us to consider here, folks. That box right there. I'm going to pull this back, get it out for now. We'll get rid of the weekly. So we got the previous day low and this hourly fair value gap. That's where I think we could have a draw. So this is the buy side draw, I think, right here. That's what I'm calling buy side liquidity. Yeah, I think that was the opening price of the 4-hour. Oh no, it is the top, yeah. So I like that area on the hourly, and you have the daily fair value gap sitting here as well, or the daily low. But what happens with the noon is going to be our determination on what happens. I mean, for all we know, price could just do this for an hour and then go. So what we're looking for at noon is how does the candles move around lunchtime? That's what we're looking for. We're not taking a trade. We're looking at how the candles move. And depending on how the candles move, will tell me if there's a possibility of us running here. Sometimes it doesn't happen right at noon. Sometimes it happens at 12:05 and 12:15. I've seen 12:30 as well, but if it's going to wait till 12:30, I'm not going to wait that long. And unfortunately, I don't see any long opportunities. You could use this breaker here. I'm not a fan of this. Yes, it works. It overlaps with this order block. It's in line with this context that we had for price moving higher. But we already ran this high here. We do have a fair value gap there, but really, I'm looking at a minimum. I'm looking for this level here. I want the 50% level. If I can find an entry that I can capitalize on it running up to this level, and more than likely just this swing high here and maybe a push to this, to the buy side liquidity, somewhere in this range, if I can get something long to go up there, I'd be interested in that. That's the only context I see that price could, that is favorable for me. But I gotta see the setup to give me an idea if it's gonna do that or not. Hey guys, we're at 9 likes. I've been on 2.5 hours. Do me a solid. Let's get 22 likes. Let's get to 22. I want, if you guys can give me 13 likes on this stream, I would be very grateful. Been doing a lot of commentary, going over a lot of trades, a lot of details. I would greatly appreciate it. Hey, we got 23. Thank you so much, folks. If any of you are still watching and you haven't clicked it and you just say, hey, let's add another one on there, I'll be grateful. Be grateful. All right, 5 more minutes. 6 more minutes until noon. Let's see what happens here. Jordy, what was the reason into live streaming? You deserve it. Thanks, Viking. I don't think you were on earlier. I made an announcement earlier. I'll share it again here for the lucky 33 that are hanging out here. Last week, over the weekend, out of nowhere, I felt an impression from the Lord. This is day trading and Jesus, for those of you know. So I'm a believer. And I felt this permission. It was weird. It just out of nowhere. I haven't even been thinking about creating a course. So I've decided that I'm going to create a course, a day trading course, but the course is called, it's way more than just day trading. It's called the Purpose-Driven Trader. The Purpose-Driven Trader. The idea behind it is, the tagline that I came up with for it is called Financial Freedom for Kingdom Impact. Right? If we're just day trading for financial freedom, I believe the Lord wants to give money to those that are going to use it to advance the kingdom of God. Those that will use it to impact other people. And so the mission behind the Purpose-Driven Day Trader is to empower you, give you the tools to become successful so that you can take the mission and the vision that the Lord has laid on your heart. Maybe you don't even know what that is yet, and part of this will be to help discover some of those things, to then be able to bless other people. That is kind of what we're looking for. That's what I am looking to do, and the impact I want to have, the legacy I want to leave. So that there, Jordy, is what's coming up next. But why did I start live streaming? It's part of my story, which I'll share in the course. I was learning to day trade, and out of nowhere, the Lord said one day, he says, Tyler, you have arrived. And I'm thinking to myself, I still have a long ways to go. I'm barely making any profit. I'm making profit, but I mean, it's not providing for my family. And it was right then and there that gave me the confidence to now start teaching others. And so everything that I do is with the goal of helping other people. And I know if I help other people, I'll be taken care of. I mean, that's just how it works. So I'm giving as much as I can away for free. And I have the ability to add ads on my live streams. I could right now push a button and I could get paid on all my live streams, which would put ads on your guys' end. Now, I've heard that sometimes YouTube, or I've heard rumors that YouTube will still run ads even on unmonetized channels. Have you guys seen any ads? Have you guys come across any ads on my streams? I think the answer is no. And I've done that intentionally because I don't want, right now, at least at this current moment, it may change in the future, but I've decided right now that I don't want ads. I don't need them on here. I think they're a distraction. I think people try to sell stuff to other people, and I don't appreciate that. And I hate advertisements. So, no ads on the live streams currently. Two minutes. Okay, we're just about there. Jordy, there's just a large disconnect due to what we do being centered around money. 100%. I would say most Christians have a flawed view of money. Money is not a bad thing. Yes, the Bible says the root of money is the root of all evil. But money is neither good nor bad. Money is neither good nor bad. It's what we do with it. It's the heart behind the person who is attaining that money. So anybody that believes as a Christian they should live in poverty, not me. No. Never. No. I will abound in everything that I do. Okay, so we're getting a retracement here. Here is noon. This is the noon candle right now. Let's see what happens. I'm just going to mark that right there. Same concept as 9:30. Same concept as 9:30. We mark our noon price. Richard, I don't understand this. I love money is too evil. I'm going to watch this level here. We didn't run this low right here. This low right here would have been a market structure shift. Let's drop down to the 5-minute here. I like this wick lower into this fair value gap that we have outlined here, with a close above the body of this order block. Let's see if it wants to push higher or not. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. Sorry, the love of money. Yes. Yes. It's the love of money. Why are we day trading? This is why this course is going to be called The Purpose-Driven Trader. Financial freedom for kingdom impact. Because money itself, doing something for money itself, inherently comes from a selfish center. If selfishness is evil. So, if there is a greater purpose, a greater vision, and yes, that can be providing for your family. Yes, it can be making a better life for your family. That can be a real kingdom purpose. But I'm going to challenge each of you in this course to have bigger visions, to have a bigger perspective, to dream beyond just your family. I'm watching this fair value gap right here. I want to see it close above. I think that's a nice, easy potential long to this high to move your stop to break even. Rich Boss, yes, there would be a Discord involved. I'm going long right here. Hopefully it doesn't go against me right there. All right. I'm going to move my stop to break even. All right, for those of you watching, there's the play. All right, I'm going to take profit there. 70 handles. Got about almost 20 handles on that play. That was nice and quick. Hopefully you guys saw that. Believe it or not, I am still not positive from that first loss. Just because I've downsized so much. I'm like, I'm not going to go large on this. I'm totally fine. But I'm just below break even now. Any Discord? What Bible study? Let's see. Let's see. Mr. 3K funded with Top Step. Thanks. And thank you for your YouTube channel. Congrats, mister. Way to go. Discord, yes. Are you asking Rich Boss if there's going to be a Bible study? I think that's down. I think that will be in the works. 100%. I think that will be a possibility. Here's the thing. The more Viking, I'll explain this trade 100% in a second. The more I do, the more support and team I'm going to need around me. So as I continue to see who's invested in the mission and vision that I believe the Lord's laid on my heart, will determine what things we can begin to implement and see. Oh, this is beautiful. Look at that reaction. So I think I'm really excited, but I can tell you that the entry to all of this will be through the course. Because if somebody's willing to put their hard-earned money into a course to learn this, that tells me there's a level of commitment to the vision and mission that I'm laying out. Maybe they just want it and they want to leave, or they want to take it and do their own thing. That's fine. But that, I think, is going to be what it's going to look like. And there will be eventually some type of Bible study, some type of content in there on about specifically the kingdom of heaven. So we'll see what the future holds. Overall, I'm very, very excited, but let's pause here. I want to explain this trade, okay? I want you guys to take note of the noon opening price, okay? Noon price is right here. I mark it out just like I do 9:30. I'm treating it like a power of 3. I'm treating it like AMD, okay? We get our manipulation right away. And we close above the order block, this order block right here. Okay? What this is telling me is, hey, I'm seeing resistance to going lower. I'm not going long unless I got the confirmation to go long. My confirmation is an inversion model, which I share and have taught multiple times. This price movement down, guess what it runs? It runs and sweeps this swing low right here. That to me is a run of liquidity, and it stopped at an order block and a fair value gap right there. Okay? Let me remove the breaker language here. Did we just create equal highs? We just created equal highs. This is a great sign. I would love to see a deep retracement here, and then you could potentially get another long to these equal highs. But more than likely, this will be ran in the PM session. If it's not ran right now, it could just continue going up. But our goal was to take a long on a close above this fair value gap. Now, I obviously took this trade before it closed. Let's see what, I'm going to tell you what my entries were. Oh, I'm still on the micro, aren't I? I apologize. Okay. So my entry was right there. It was 19,044. The reason why I took that trade is because we closed relatively close to that high and we were aggressive. I already saw that we stopped at this order block and fair value gap, and we swept this low. I have 3 reasons why price could begin to run the other way. My last confirmation was eclipsed by a very aggressive candle. And sometimes when I see everything else align and I have an aggressive candle, I will take the entry early, knowing that we're probably going to run this high and I can move my stop to break even. Now, I didn't even get much time to do that because I ended up selling it when we got to right here. And I sold that position. So I barely got my stop to break even, and then I ended up taking that. I closed that trade because I got 70 handles out of it. 70 ticks. Imagine you snag that 70 ticks off of mini. That day will come. That day will come. The only thing is, when my very first trade is a loss, I'm going to reduce my size, because I intentionally reduced my size because I can't tell you how many times in the past where I've oversized. I had a loss. And I'm like, I need to get back. Well, let's just, instead of going for 10 handles, let's just go for 5 handles and double my contracts. Stupid. So I intentionally reduced my size to eliminate that feeling of trying to get back what I lost, and just let the trade set up in front of me. And today's price action, honestly, has been absolutely amazing. I just took the one trade that decides to run against me. For my first loss. If not, man, I'd be up. What would it be? I'd be up $2,000. I'd be up $2,000 today. My loss was $2,000 because I did a full size. It was a full size 10 micro contracts for about 25 handles of a loss. But I can tell you this, when I have one loss, full size, and I make almost all of that money back when I'm going half size and then even quarter size, because I've gone quarter size on these last two trades. I was only doing 2 micro contracts instead of 10. That's 20, that's 2/10. When I see that I've made almost all my money back on smaller size, I can tell you that not only, yes, it doesn't mean I don't make big money. I got that. But what it does do is it builds that confidence that I got it. I got it. Yes, the market got the best of me today, but I got it. I know how to do it. I know how to trade. I know how to be patient. I know how to manage my risk. I know how to downsize and take my emotions out of the trade. That is what downsizing allows me to do. So even though you may not see it on the balance book, you're still getting so much value in that ability when you are actually taking the trades on smaller size. There's just so much there's more than just cash in your account. It's confidence. And that confidence goes a long way when you can follow your rules. Okay. Let's see here. We ran this high. Did we hit that? I bet you we hit that. Did we hit the hourly? Did we? No, we didn't. We didn't. Buy side's still way up here. All right, so let's see what happens here if it's going to continue. I'm interested in this fair value gap right there. For those of you watching, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. I do this daily. Would love to have you here daily hanging out with me. Look at the wick and look at the reaction. There's another. Here's model number 3. Take the first stab into a breaker and take it on 5 or 10 handles. I've given 3 new models today that you could trade. I don't even trade all of them. I don't trade hardly any of them. I like that idea, Jordy. We have relatively equal lows right here. So if you are interested in running that low, this would be your entry. That would be your entry. The concern is that this breaker is going to stop price by if you were to take it up here. Look at the reaction on that breaker. The problem that we have with breakers is why wasn't it this one and why was it this one? Do you see what I mean? Being able to identify the correct breaker is probably the hardest part when it comes to taking that entry on the first exposure, because it usually will give you a bounce. It may continue, but it will give you some type of reaction that you can take 5, 10 handles on. I'll tell you right now, if we're aggressive and we close above this fair value gap here, I'll take that to the highs. On the 5-minute time frame, I'm looking at this candle as a proportion block. I want to see if this wants to be a proportion block. Do we want to continue higher and move above this and close above it in 3.5 minutes? See how we wicked into this order block here? Now, are we going to find resistance at this bearish order block right here? Or are we going to push through it, watching this inversion fair value gap for an entry to the high? Sula, can you tell me if I'm pronouncing your name correctly? Sula, do I have that right? I think my brother might have been on the stream today. No. Look at these series of down close candles and look at this rejection into this inversion fair value gap. That is a breaker. Could be a breaker to the downside. The thing about lunchtime is it could go any way. It is a lot more difficult to trade lunchtime when you don't have a clear draw. This was easy. Now this is difficult. We could go higher, we could go lower. Both are an option. I think ultimately this is our draw up here, but it doesn't have to do that right now. It doesn't have to do that at all right now. My music stopped. Higher, lower, or Chop City? Sola. 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 All right, Sola. I'll say Sola. If that's correct, give me a thumbs up. I just like to pronounce people's names correctly. My wife is not American. My wife is African. Sola. 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 We'll say Sola. My wife is African, and her name is Charis, but it's pronounced Lucrece. And I just know people appreciate the correct pronunciation. Sola. Okay, so nice rejection here. We're not interested in doing anything. We're waiting to see if we're going to be aggressive and run this low. Everything between this high and this low, for the most part, is we don't want to touch. The only thing we're interested in is a close below this level or a close above this level. You need to identify the levels and then be patient. Because it could go back and forth all between here and then grab all the money that you just made. You just got to be careful. I don't like this inversion fair value gap because we didn't grab a swing low. It could easily fail. %, Jordy. This is where most traders lose because what trader wants that? We sit down to trade to get in and out and, have a life. We've been on for 3 hours and I've taken 4 trades. You have seen every single trade today. We've been on 4 hours, 3 hours, 4 trades. 1 loss, 3 wins. Now, let me explain one rule that I have, okay? I implemented this rule not too long ago. is that if I'm green, if I'm red, I don't care. But I've taken 3-4 trades. Ideally, I'd like to be under 3. I've taken 4 today. If I take an additional trade because I think the market is looking good, if that trade is a loser, no question, you have to walk away from your charts. You have to walk away from your charts. If it's a loser, you have to walk away from your charts. Because what happens is that you'll end up trying to get that money back, and then you'll get more losses. Can't do that. Stay away from that. Viking, is an earlier fair value gap that candle has closed, is that still in the game or just delete and don't look at it anymore? Is the earlier fair value gap, what time? Give me, what time is the fair value gap, Viking? For example, this fair value gap right here, it was created at 12:03. See how this failed? What did I say about this fair value gap? I don't like it because we didn't sweep below and it could fail. It's still active, but I mean, if I'm in this trade, I would not be feeling nice right now. 1812. I don't know what 1812 is, Viking. You tell me the time that you're referring to for the fair value gap, I'll look it up. All right. We ran this low. Nice. We didn't sweep any liquidity. We're going back and forth. This is the stuff I said we want to stay away from. Especially can happen at the lunch hour. The fair value gap at 1812. Is that time 1812? Is it Cassius? Well, you're welcome. You are welcome. There is no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no foul language and there's no grotesque. Is that the word? I don't like the way dudes talk for the most part. It's crappy. It's vulgar. Vulgar is the word I'm looking for. You won't get it. There'll be none of that here. Viking. Yes. What are you doing? Well, come hang out with us if you want. We'll be here every day beginning at 9:20 Eastern Standard Time. Honestly, I have no idea why I'm still on. I've always gotten annoyed from ICT on how he takes a 3-4 hour stream, and here I am sitting for 3 hours. We are at the top of the weekly fair value gap high. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Show up on Bloomberg. I don't know if I'm ever going to show up on Bloomberg. The only thing, though, is, Jordy, I've been on other live streams when they have 300, 400, 500 people. The chat goes so fast that there's almost no way to be able to communicate with people. because it moves so quickly. It's like I can't have a conversation. There is value in a smaller live stream, but there's also value in a larger live stream, right? There's pros and cons to both. I hope to find a solution to that, because no, I don't want to be people falling through the cracks. If they want to be involved, I want them to. Did you play any sports before? I did. I played football just in high school. I got injured my senior year, so it kept me from really playing any college sports. Yeah, no, moderators will become a thing. All right, so I like this candle here. We talked about this fair value gap. 28 seconds. Again, I'm very light in size. I'm not taking any size if I do something. 2 micros is all I'm trading. No close. No close. Son of a gun. Don't run without us now. This is why you got to be very careful on a candle like this. When you start seeing it push, you're like, oh, it's going to go without me, get in. But remember, we still got like 45 seconds left. I would only take that short when it was showing it going lower if there was like 10, 15 seconds left. I would never do that with 50 seconds left on the candle. Porfin, I don't even know what we're not on ES. We're trading NQ. I know that you can have SMTs, but I'm not looking at that right now. Sola. I answered this in another live stream, and I'm not going to make it very long. But the answer is, I do think as long as they're under authority, they can preach. And it could be as simple as they have a husband who is under authority. So there's a preacher in California. Her name is Catherine Crick. She's a single 33-year-old woman that has a huge impact, has a huge ministry. But even her, she has a spiritual father that she submits herself to. And that preacher, that spiritual father is in Africa. And that is her spiritual father where she is held accountable to. Whether you're a man or a woman, you need to submit yourself to some level of accountability. Whether you're a man or woman. If you're a man and you're not submitting yourself to another spiritual father or spiritual mother that has a place to speak into your life, I think you're out of order, even as a man. Okay, watching this level now. Why do I like this level? Because we swept this low and now we're being very aggressive going the other direction. We have relatively equal highs here and a fair value gap here. My goal would be to bring stop to break even fairly quickly. If it closes above this, I'm not even sure it will. And also very, very small size, folks. It doesn't look like it's going to close. Agreed. Good way to put it. Jesus can use anyone to spread his word, but as a leader, it must be a fear godly man. I think the Lord has given men characteristics of being a leader, 100%. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't think it means a woman can't, but that woman needs to have somebody she's accountable to, somebody that can speak into her life. The same goes for a man, though. Same goes for a man. Jordy, later, man. God bless you. We'll see ya. I'm watching this right here, folks. Still watching it. Look how it's respected the consequent encroachment of that fair value gap. It's staying in the discount portion, meaning we may go lower. That's basically what it says. Now we need to see it move away for the confirmation of that. And sometimes you'll be able to anticipate the move away when you just know, when you've been in price action long enough, you can see it. Thanks, George. Oh my gosh, look at that. Let's see if we can get this. 16 seconds. It did run this low. I'm going to take that right there. Let's hit that low, folks. And done. 55.64. Boom! I don't even know what to do. I'm like, this candle is way too aggressive to let this go without me. Folks, and I am green on the day. Woo! What a comeback. We went 4 for 5 today. We went 4 for 5 today. First trade was a loser, followed by 4 wins. Taking a fraction of the size of that first trade to get back to positive. That, I'm not going to lie, I feel proud of myself right now. All right, this is going long, folks. This is going to go long. Watch this. Watch this fair value gap right there. Sorry. Watch that fair value gap right there. This is manipulation lower based on how aggressive it is going back the other direction. This is going higher. Look at where the 5-minute closed. Look at the 5-minute. Look at the 5-minute body. Look how it respects. It's respecting the 5-minute order block. Yes, it went down below it a little bit, but the bodies are it closed above even the mean threshold. It would not surprise me if we launch higher. Down to 1 micro. I might take this with 1 micro contract. 13 seconds left. I'm taking it. Unless we close, then I'll be out. Let's see. Do we close? Come on. We didn't. I'm out. It didn't close. We're still waiting. There, see how much time is left on this candle? 45 seconds. I would never take that push higher. There's too much time on this candle for it to just completely obliterate me. You only do a momentum play when there's like 10 seconds left on the clock. And we haven't hit the high. which we left the high. Look at that. That's nice. That's nice. I like that. Okay. We left that high. Let's see where the candles close. No close. And now it's going the other direction. This is what you got to be careful of. It left these equal highs, relatively equal highs here. I like that. We'll see if it wants to come back for it. But I would not be surprised if we go higher after this giant down close candle. I've never watched a Casper video. I've watched a few of his shorts. He's heavy on the promos. He's real heavy on the promos. I don't know anything about his trading style. So I can't, I would never give my opinion on somebody if I haven't watched or done stuff. I don't like the idea of hearsay on what other people do, but I do notice a ton of ads. He is a marketing guru. I admire the ability to market. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, I was hoping it was going to run the other direction. I really was. ICT is difficult. ICT is difficult. He is my mentor. He is the one that will get the credit for him, and the Lord will get the credit for my success in day trading. And I'm happy to give the success where it's, or the props where it's due. I will be coming out with a Cassius. I will be coming out with a course myself. Yes, despite what I just said, I felt the Lord give me the release to actually create a course here over the weekend, and it's going to be called the Purpose Driven Trader. The Purpose Driven Trader. It's more than just day trading, because day trading is just one aspect of our life, and the Lord cares about more than just our economic side of our life. All right, we closed below this fair value gap right here. I'm interested in seeing it run this low. It may not, because we still got some time. You are 100% on it. Greed is a huge part of this industry. And I would say greed is probably the number one reason why people take more losses than they should. %. Faith is the foundation. I would not be here except for the voice of the Lord and the journey that He's brought me on. All right, I'm gonna look at the 5 minute, gonna clean some stuff up here. You guys are getting a master class in order flow. That's all we've been doing, is reading order flow. I really like these equal highs, guys. If I'm honest with you, I would not be on if price action wasn't as good as it is. If price action was not as good as it is, we would not be sitting here right now. Honestly, I have no idea why I'm still on. For those of you joining or just joining, we're just hanging out, watching, reading order flow, seeing if there's any opportunities, being patient. We've taken 5 trades. We're 4 for 5. I did take one off on that wick higher, but got out at break even, so I'm not even counting that. I think we're gonna melt. It looks like we want to melt. The melting lower is about to begin. Look at the noon price and treat it as a breaker. Yep. Here we go. We just swept that low. We have another low right here. We just violated this order block. We want to see it reach down to the first fair value gap below the order block or below the swing low, which would be this one here. I think we at least go to that level. It could go further, but at least that level. I'm just reading order flow here. We have 30 seconds on the 5-minute. I want to see if it closes below. But this also is another 5-minute fair value gap. So I think we at least go to this level here. There it is. We should hit it there. I'm getting just as much out of this as you guys are. I'm reading order flow. This is very educational for me. All right, so what did I say? We have a swing low and a fair value gap beneath it. When we target a swing low, we want to see it reach for a fair value gap beneath it. So this level and this level here, fair value gap. And what do we do after we hit this level, folks? What do? We get a retracement. Doesn't mean it stops and going to go the other direction. It just tells me that it was significant. We got a reaction. And now look, it's just going to push right through it. I'm reading. This is stuff you can't see after the fact. You have to see it in real time. You saw the reaction. Look where we closed. These are all things you don't get in post price action, is seeing how the candles react to certain levels, because you have to trade based on the reactions you see. And some of that you just can't learn in post price action. So for those of you still sitting here today, props to you guys, because this is legit. This is legit how you become a better trader. is by sitting in front of the charts like this, and hopefully you're not losing money in the process, because that's never fun. It's a different experience if you're in drawdown and you're losing money. You just don't get the education as much as you would if you were not in drawdown. I told you that this was being treated like a breaker, the noon price. This discount, this big displacement candle. Beautiful reaction to this noon price displacing lower. If we wick up into this fair value gap, I doubt we'll get it. But if we wick up into this and start going back down, I would take an entry. Look how this whole area is balanced, except for up here. Okay, what do we come down to? Before you just take an entry, you need to see what we hit. Look where that wick is. We hit that wick there. No surprise on the reaction. Let's see if it closes or if it rejects here. I'm going to take, this will be my last trade. Let's see if we can get down to the midpoint of this wick. And if we can't, we'll just close the trade. Oh, dang it. All right, stop me out. I moved my stop to break even. I wasn't liking, I wanted to see it just push right away. It didn't give it to me, so I'm out. That, my friends, is going to be my point of stopping. I can tell the difference in my decision making. And so part of a trader's ability to walk away is knowing when you need to walk away. So let's walk away for today, boys, gals, friends. Way longer, way an hour and a half longer than I expected to be on here. Almost 2 hours longer. And we will be back tomorrow. Thanks for being here, folks. We will see you.